Welcome to the Voice Detective Show. I'm your host, Gyaan Lyon, aka the Voice Detective. My guest today is Markus Scheer, the 7th generation owner of Rudolf Scheer Söhne, the oldest bespoke shoemaking atelier in the world, based in the heart of Vienna, Austria.
Markus, congratulations on 210 years of being in business.
Thank you. I have only 35 of them, but still thank you.
Tell us about the company's prestigious history.
It is 1816 around, there was this Gyaan, and he was the one, he came out of a wine producing family. And the story tells that he was the one who said okay, I'm just in love with shoes. And that's why he went out of this line. I think they had been angry also a little bit these days that he didn't run the family's company. And then started with the shoemaking thing. And he must have been unbelievably talented. So in this one generation, he developed the shoemaking to a level which was already ready to get this first K&K contract. And then also when he and also his son, they were ready to move next to the Hofburg, that's why we are in the Bäunerstraße, and they established this place, which means already the second generation was worldwide's best. And then from that time on, between the second and the fourth generation, all this K&K Habsburg area, they really had a high time flew. They just were unbelievably successful, became also very, very rich. And then think about the end of the monarchy. I think mostly things are destroyed. You had the end of the World War I. The only good thing, if you could say that, was that when a lot of customers came back injured or with feet problem, it was the start of thinking about orthopedic in shoes. Before it was mostly about fitting, also the way of elegance and these things and materials. And then they started to think about health. And then think about very turbulent times between World Wars, Second World War, then you had the occupation time. This area was Russian occupied. A lot of things were destroyed or taken out of here. And then from the 15th on, there was this building up Europe again, Vienna being a place where design was very, very popular. And this was the time where my grandfather also became, or he was, one of the most important designers in Europe. For all the designs, wherever you look, anywhere, you can think about most of these designs were invented here in the house.
Wow.
And you see also on the paintings on the wall, these creations. So you can see, a lot of people walk through the house and see these hundreds of pins and think, oh wow, I've seen that anywhere. So these are the original paintings there. And my grandfather also was the one who was working more than 70 years in-house. So he started when he was 18 in 1936, and he left in 2011. So when the sixth generation didn't work on, I was coming here in the early 90s. I had about 20 years to learn everything. And my grandfather, of course, he was a master knowing how to produce art in the sense of shoemaking processes. He was one of the pioneers in orthopedic, and he was a genius designer. So it was unbelievably cool for me to have him as a master. And then we had a small problem, which very often happens when an old one should bring things to the next generation, and the next generation grabbing, give me all the know-how. We had some generation conflict as well for about 10 years. But at the end, we could solve that problem, and that's why this place still has an unbelievable, friendly, peaceful aura, which is very, very important. And now I'm here since beginning of the 90s, and now my thoughts are going also to the next generation. And I developed a lot, I changed a lot. Every generation had to make a pioneer work.
Did you always know that you were going to go into the family business?
I think I knew it when I was 12 or 13. It was the time when my grandfather had an eye on myself because one of his daughters was running the company, and she married a guy working in Hong Kong, which became a little bit complicated to go on. And then when she left, he was looking to his grandsons, and there's only my brother and I. So the story tells that when he'd seen some wooden box or something I did in school, and then he said oh cool, the guy is talented, and then he tried to, like grandfathers do, to bring me closer. And my colleagues in school told me some months ago that they remember that they had some things to work in school, doing it between, like some sewing things, this famous middle stitch or whatever. So I think from that time on, I quite knew that I will do it. And when I was 19, I really started, and I started very intense because I needed to get thousands of thicklets. It was normally, you know, that it's 10 years and more to get on a level that we have here. And my grandfather was always more or less almost over 70 when I started.
Markus, tell our audience about the bespoke shoemaking process.
Bespoke shoemaking means that you, as we said before, you have to get a relation with the person. So we have an old rhythm we do since more than 200 years, that we see each other for taking the measurements, like also to get known to each other a little bit and to get confident. And then we start the prototyping process, which needs more or less 3 months. And then we have the prototypes ready. And then we need another 3 to 5 months to get the first pair ready. And then after another 2-3 months, we do something like a control appointment. It's more or less out of these orthopedic reasons. But at the end also, it's good to see how people treat the shoes, for example, how they get confident to make a check for the last form, a last check, and then at least then the journey really starts. So when you wear the first pair, for us, the journey starts.
Markus, what is a shoelace?
It's the fundament of everything. So after we, as we say, we try to understand feet, which means we try to understand feet and personality, how everything functions. And then we have like these taking measurements where we just have some memory points. And then we start to make a wooden fork, which is a very creative process. And we use there, until today, we use old tools because it's the most natural process to go out of your instinct and out of your memory over your hands to produce a product. That's why it's then the last form where everything is included. Health inside and like the optic on the outside. That's what we have to create. And it's the process is it's not a limited process. It could take 2 hours, could take 10 hours. So we are never limited in time in that. It's until the master gets the feeling it's done. It's a little bit like an architect when he makes his, you know, the first ideas coming out.
So is this a tool that you use to make the last?
That's the main tool. So for the hard, heavy wooden work, you need this very long life. It's the oldest tool we have in house, so it was always taken over. And it's more than 250 years old.
Wow.
And like I'm here like 35 years and I never had to even sharpen it.
Wow.
So it's just a perfect thing.
Wow, it's just like Excalibur.
And then what we also use is like these rasps and these things in different sizes. Mm-hmm. So these are the main 2 tools we use for like forming the wood. It has to be a very hard wood because we need this last form for the whole lifetime of a customer.
Well, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was nearly covered nearly all of Europe, so your firm had a lot of customers.
That's why we have been totally like huge area of Europe, exclusive producer of all these people. It was just except France and England, they always had their own producers, also in these days. But at the end, all the rest was here.
Wow.
That's a shoe park.
Yes.
Of a man, of a gentleman from 1870 to 1910.
Yes.
So you can really see a whole life cycle. And remember, like these people became, don't know, 54, maximum 45 or something. So it was enough to have these 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 pair of shoes. And at the end, it was the time when it was allowed to wear half shoes on the street. Before, you were not allowed to do that. It was very uncool to show parts of your leg. So all these designs, the shoes with laces, with buckles on the side, and then elastic straps to have these Chelsea boots, which is quite a very modern thing. It was invented around 1890. And no colors.
Yes,
it's like all black.
All black, yeah. Was the Chelsea boot sort of invented by your own family, or?
I mean, there are different stories about that.
Yes.
But like the story also my grandfather told that the emperor was asking Rudolf to produce something besides, because they've worn only the boots, like the riding boots during the day, and then they had their comfortable satin, whatever, slippers at home. That's where you see all these paintings of the people when they're sitting at home, something like this. They all had these beautiful, velour or satin slippers. And he was asking Rudolf if he could make something to make like an easier way for the uniform, so a more casual way to the uniform. And that's why the Chelsea boots were invented, and elastic straps that these days came up. So that's why.
Wonderful.
So I would say it's like the sneaker of these days. So it was the emperor saying, "Can you make me some sneakers?" Still elegant. Yeah,
was it normal for all the courtiers of the emperor to come here to have their shoes made?
Yes, it was like, it was a not written rule. Yeah, everybody wanted to go there where the emperor is, because they also wanted to stay on this kind of network. At the end, it was a kind of network, and also all the other people of the higher society, all the people like artists, architects, musicians, they wanted also to stay close there, because they wanted to show individuality, and that's the point. So that's why they always tried to be next to the same producer. And we had like all these people, all the high society, everybody wants to come up there, was customer here.
What was the relationship between your ancestor Rudolf and the emperor? Was it very formal?
At least not at all, because they came quite close. So they, at least next to the personal doctors of the emperor, the shoemaker was the guy coming the next to a person.
Wow.
So he knows a lot about the person. Always shoemakers know a lot about the character of a person, health of a person. And that's why they became more or less friends. They also went hunting together. And the emperor really loved arts. So he really collected the best of these artists. That's also why you got this K&K exclusive title. There was only one shoemaker for all the Habsburgs. There were not several ones. So they became, of course, friends, and also they spent time together. Because it's like when you come so near, a relation is coming up. You can't do it too formal. It's like today. Yeah. We never can do a perfect product without getting in relation. There is the one star really showing the relation, because everybody who, when you had been in one room with the emperor, you had to leave by going backwards. And only his family and people he allows them were able to turn around and go like that upward. Because this normally would mean it's like respectful to showing the back. And Rudolf was one of the only ones who was allowed to really turn around when he said goodbye.
Wow.
So when he made the fittings or whatever, and then when he was ready, it said like whatever he said, like at Majesty, and then he could go out like that. And it's just a small story, but it showed, well, not only the relation, it showed the respect of these two people to each other.
Markus, tell us about this special shoemaker's stool.
It's one of my most favorite tools. I need it quite a lot. It's like when I sit on that and I can have the feet in front of me, I have like the perfect feeling and the perfect side on that. So wherever I sit, normally I sit on these things. So even when I just talk with somebody, I'm sitting on my chair.
So Markus, you mentioned that your grandfather pioneered orthopedic shoemaking. Can you tell us a bit more about his contribution? And I guess you've taken a big interest in that too.
The days of my grandfather, for him, was the most important thing to solve the problems of his remaining customers. So he just had to bring solutions to the problems coming in. And nowadays, it's a little bit more. The difference is that people lost a little bit the feeling to their feet. So feet are not injured, they are just weak. And that's the main thing in changing the concept. What I try to do is that I try to convince everybody to care about the feet, to train feet, and to bring the potential of feet up again, which you can do by training. And the way how we include orthopedic in shoes is that we try to help that process. And that's the most important thing, that these totally individually made friend shoe, seeing as a friend, is the one who helps you and accompanies you the whole rest of your life. In terms of keeping in mind that feet are very, very important, very complex, and that they have a high potential. Our intention always is to build the nicest forms, like orthopedically correct, but at the end they're very nice and and like a form connecting to the personality. And then we try to keep the design simple. So one of the signature pieces are this one piece thing, or the second one, which was invented by my grandfather in the 70s, these middle stitching designs, which just were, of course, functional ideas, because design was not invented by fun. People, like, design is always functional. So he had pieces on the skins. He didn't know what to use. Yeah? So the plain shoes are made on a certain position, and then you have these broke things, for example, are made on another position, and then there was the middle position left. And that's why he was inventing this design, because it's perfect for the middle part of the skins.
And being ecological at the same time, by not.
Of course. I mean, leather is, I mean, we are not only in love with leather, we respect leather. And at the end, think about the guarantee of a lifetime product. The most important part is the leather.
Yes.
So if you use not the best ones, we will get the problem back out then. So that's why we are like, we try to use every centimeter of the skin.
What's the most important emotion for you in life?
The feeling of having things done, like being confident that I did good things, and which can come anywhere. It can come, you know, during the day when I work. It can come when I see my family around me. It can come when I, you know, have something in my mind where I say, oh, there is something I can do to become a better guy or something. These are the emotions, I think, which are the most intense.
And also, what is the best advice you've ever received?
It was the advice from, it was a Japanese entrepreneur. He was nearly 100 years old or something.
Okay.
And he ran the company in the 48th generation or something. And it was a meeting of people running old companies, and you are only invited when you're at least 200 years with your company. So
okay.
I felt like a startup company there. And he came up to me, and he know who I was, and just saying, I just want to tell you something. You know, everybody has a backpack. And he said, my advice is only put a third in your backpack. Choose it very carefully, but keep the rest free for the future. And that's the things I always remember.
How many years has the family owned this building?
And then the second generation came here. The first generation was in the Praterstraße nearby in the second district. And then around 1866, this house was built, and then they moved here. And more or less like its original entrance and part of the first floor was always part of the family's own. But I tried to gain rooms. So today we are around 4 times bigger than at the times between this 1866 to more or less 1990 or something.
Brilliant.
So it became bigger because we were able to include more arts since the time that we make also bags and anything else. We just need space. And sometimes they also lived here. We took over like all the rooms. The atmosphere, you know, is the same in all the rooms. Everything happened there over the last 150 years. But now we use them as a workshop.
So how was the facade designed? Was it done by the third generation?
In the end, like the second moved here, and they with the third one and the huge high times of the K&K producing times, they had these like a wooden portal with like black wood on the gold, and then like in the 1870s or something, they removed all the wood because the glass was, they just made it bigger. They made the windows. They wanted to show things. So the original wooden things are really original from the third generation Rudolf, and that's why also still the name Rudolf Sheer Sons is still there. Also like this metal thing over here showing the arts, because in this street was full of shoemakers, tailors, so all the handcrafting people making the things like out of your, like we say, corporate design or personal design was made in that street. It was the street of the shoemakers and tailors.
How do you keep a happy workshop?
Keeping in the minds of all the people that they have to stay healthy, that they have to care about themselves, like also mentally, physically. We have the yoga session every Wednesday, 8 o'clock in the morning, for example, just to have a trainer, like talking with them, having an eye with them. If I want to know if anybody of my staff has a problem, I ask her. She always knows better than me how the individual people are like, I don't know, how is their
On the
situation.
show today. It was a real pleasure to be able to interview you and for you to be able to visit your atelier.
Thank you for your interest, and it's always very nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye. Bye. It's Viennese history. Yeah, you have the street stalls. Mm-hmm. Then you have, remember that one? To have this, there is the, it was the family who produced this Tiegel.
Ah.
And in every one of them, at times of the KMK monarchy, everyone had a stamp of the family on it. Even, and that's what I love. Even though nobody sees it again, but it's like, it's the confidence of trusting a family doing good things.
Exactly.